Welcome to the official Jets podcast. We are presented by WynnBET. Betting is a team sport. Bet together at WynnBET. Eric Allen here inside the studio flying solo, but joined by my partner, as always, my teammate, Leger Douzable. Douz, what do you make of what happened Sunday at MetLife Stadium? A dramatic 34-31 Jets victory, and Mike White making his first NFL start was amazing.
Yeah, I don't know where to start. There's so many emotions watching that game yesterday, but you have to, give a kudos to Mike White coming in last week versus New England Patriots, being efficient with the offense. Yes, he had the 2 interceptions where he was late with the football, but he corrected those things this week. And yes, he threw 2 more interceptions, but you can't 100% put those on him. One, the one to Crowder on a quick slant route, the ball was a little hot. But, tips and overthrows, got to get those. Jason Bates was right there, right place, right time, got the interception. And the interception off of Michael Carter's, helmet, that was just bad luck because that was the right read. That was where he was supposed to go with the football. You would like Michael Carter to get his head around a little bit quicker. But other than that, the thing that really stood out to me, EA, is how many times the Jets were in 3rd and long, right? Because that had been their Achilles heels. But Mike White was so efficient and did a good job of making sure that he minimized that. I believe they weren't in their first 3rd and long until halfway through the second quarter. And I believe it was 3rd and 9. And then, Berrios catches a quick out route for 6 yards and they punt the ball away, which sometimes is a win on offense, right? Punting the ball away can be a win. But I believe that was something that wasn't talked about enough throughout, yesterday. And even the sports shows this morning was how Mike White didn't put the Jets in 3rd and long situations, finding the backside of the backfield, which I know we talked about last week on the podcast and on the Robert Saleh show, being that was going to be a big thing because the Cincinnati Bengals like to play a soft zone coverage. So when you can find your backs out of the backfield and with the athletes with like Ty Johnson and Michael Carter, that's a mismatch that you have to exploit. And Mike White did a great job of doing that, not trying to be Superman, just playing within the offense, taking what the defense gives you. And like I said, he wasn't trying to be Superman. He didn't go in there and try to force the ball down the field. He just played within the offense and executed.
He did some amazing things, but I really thought he set the tone with that first play. I don't know if people think of that first play from scrimmage when they go through that game in their mind, but it's a 1st and 10, and he's got a lot of pressure on him. And he knows that he's an outlet there in Michael Carter, and he picks up 9 yards. And that kind of established what the Jets were going to be. Not that they were going to dump the ball off to the running back, but they were going to stay on schedule, and he was going to take what was there.
Yeah, and you said it best, right? Stay on schedule. And I just talked about it, not putting your team in 2nd and long and 3rd and long. The funny thing is that was scripted to take a shot down the field to either Denzel Mims or I believe it was Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole was on the outside and ran the go, and then they sent Denzel Mims in motion, and he ran the real route right there. So technically that was supposed to be a shot down the field, but you got the inside pressure from Larry Ogunjobi. He sees Michael Carter in the flat, just dumps it off to him, and he gets positive yards, staying ahead of the sticks. That's what this offense is predicated on: getting the ball out of your hands, knowing where to go with the football, and then executing, being accurate with the football.
What did you think about Mike LaFleur? Because he really got into rhythm as well as his quarterback. You saw, I think Mike White came out of the gate very confident, and he got even more confident. And you saw Mike LaFleur just opening it up.
Yeah. I actually went through the film again today, and I actually wrote down what the first drive consisted of. So if you look at the first drive, right, and people have been on like Mike LaFleur, and we've had this discussion, throughout the season. I was like, plays have been there. The execution just hasn't been there. And like when you have a first 15 scripted, but you're down 14-0, you kind of have to abandon that first 15. So the Jets essentially went through their first 15 in the first drive of the game, EA. 11-play drive. That's essentially your first 15. So let's look at the first 15. We talked about it. The first play was play action. Could have took a shot down the field, decided to check it down to Michael Carter, staying ahead of the sticks. Then the bootleg, he hits Denzel Mims, which could have been an explosive play, but you lose some of that yardage on the holding play from Elijah Moore. Then you have a quick slant, I believe, to Jamison Crowder, then another play action play. Then he finds the back to the flat. Then they run the football, and then they have their first third down finally. And then it was a great job by Michael LaFleur seeing a light box and running a draw with Michael Carter. You get the first down there. Then you have a screenplay, right? These aren't those where you're throwing the ball down the field. It's just being efficient. Screenplay. Then you have a running back to the flat to Ty Johnson. Then you have the trick play where you get the PI. Jamison Crowder's about to throw it to Jeff Smith, but they get the PI. And then you just have a simple toss play. Great job by Elijah Vera Tucker and Croft getting out to the outside. Michael Carter gets into the end zone untouched. Like, it wasn't like these were just sexy plays. Yeah, the trick play was thrown in there, but they didn't even complete that. It was a pass interference on that, but it was just being efficient. Mike White knew getting the ball out of my hands, getting it to the back, especially playing the Cincinnati Bengals, because we knew with the off-zone coverage they were going to play. And even when they played man, believing that you have better athletes at the running back position to make plays, he just knew where to go with the football, was efficient, and played within the offense.
So he starts out 11 of 11. Then mixed in there is the 2 interceptions. The Jets turned the ball over 3 times in the first half. How critical was that drive before halftime where we thought it ended on Keelan Cole making a ridiculous catch? Unfortunately, that went up to the booth and was overturned, but Braxton Berrios came back with a good catch. And again, Mike White was on the money.
And I'm so glad you brought up that drive because it was monumental, right? Being down 17-7, but a minute and 51 on the clock, and Mike White again, just being efficient, finding his backs out of the backfield all the way down. The Keelan Cole catch was ridiculous. It should have been a touchdown regardless, just for the effort put into that play.
Agreed.
But on that third down play, this is big time for Mike White. I don't think people see this. Let me just break it down and take you onto the field, right? They have a A-gap and a B-gap blitzer. And right there, Elijah Vera Tucker is in a bind, right? Because he has to let one of those guys go. But he does a great job essentially taking 2 for 1. So he starts on the D tackle, DJ Reader, and then at the last second pivots to the linebacker blitzing in the A-gap. And then Mike White does something so subtle that people won't see on camera. He subtly backs up to the left just to buy himself some time as Braxton Berrios running a speedo or a speed out, and he throws it where only Braxton Berrios can catch the ball. Great toe drag swag by Braxton Berrios and great throw. That's big time for Mike White. Like, I don't think people understand how hard that was with staring down the barrel. Like, you have a free blitzer coming at you, but then Elijah Vera Tucker saving you at the last second, just getting a hand on that backer so he can't hit him. The defensive tackle was late. Mike White slightly moves to the left and throws it on a run on a dart. That's big time football for Mike White and Elijah Vera Tucker and Braxton Berrios right there.
And that's what has to get you excited if you're a Jets fan right now. Elijah Vera Tucker, a rookie who hopefully is on this team for 10 years. He continues to excel. Michael Carter, the running back who is going to be a guest on this podcast, was sensational, Douz.
No question.
I mean, 9 catches, almost 100 yards receiving, got it done on the ground again, more than 70 yards rushing. And his 3rd rushing touchdown in 4 games. He's a hard guy to bring down.
Yeah, he's showing that he can be one of the best complete backs in the NFL. And that's 2 games back-to-back going over 100 all-purpose yards. And we knew coming out of North Carolina what he could do out of the backfield. I think the thing that has surprised me the most is the balance, the contact balance, and the strength and the lower body strength that he runs with. Like, timeless times yesterday, the first, tackler could not bring him down to the ground. And you see that lower body strength and him shrugging defenders off. And at times you think he's down on the ground. I believe there was a play yesterday where he landed on, a defender and got up and continued to run and get 4 or 5 more yards. This guy just plays with effort, and you love his upbeat personality. He's just a spark for the offense, and I'm glad to see him coming along in his rookie year.
Man, this team played with a lot of juice yesterday. I know a lot of people were concerned after what happened in New England because you never want to see that, but you also don't want that to be lasting, to carry through to the next week. That did not happen with this young team. And you mentioned Michael Carter. How about Ty Johnson's balancing act down the sideline? Another guy who was a threat in the receiving game because these Jets running backs, they can take the handoff and they can run the football, but Mike White is finding them. This is the 2nd consecutive week where we're seeing Michael Carter and Ty Johnson be effective out of the backfield as outlets or receivers.
Oh, definitely a great 1-2 punch. And we had Ty Johnson on, I believe, last week, and we know the type of athlete he is, sub 4.4 guy, a guy that has contact balance, a guy that can lower his pad and get the extra yardage. He's also another guy that's really hard to break, tackle, bring down in the open field. And we saw that yesterday, over 70 yards receiving. Like, so both of your running backs go over 70 yards. You're talking about 160 yards receiving just from the backfield yesterday, proving again Mike White is taking what the defense is giving him and trusting his playmakers to make plays. And you talked about the touchdown from Ty Johnson, staying in bounds, just this much smidgen of green on the sideline, being able to tiptoe and then leap into the end zone. That's big-time football from both of the running backs yesterday.
What did you make about the defense's effort? The Bengals scored 31 points, but Ja'Marr Chase is held to 3 catches on 9 targets. So they negated his you don't totally take Ja'Marr Chase out of the game, but the Jets did a hell of a job against them. And then from the
that's as good as you can do.
Yeah. And then from the get, it just looks a lot different out there when C.J. Mosley is on the field, and then Jared Davis is on the field as well for the first time.
It's big time, but we talked about complimentary football all the time, right, EA? When your offense goes out there and gets 11 plays on the first drive and scores a touchdown, that invigorates the defense. And then we saw what happened, right? The defense goes 3 and out. The offense drives the ball right back down the field, settles for a field goal, but unfortunately can't make the field goal with Amendola. But the defense just seemed fresher, right, EA? We talked about the first 4 weeks, how the defense was playing. The last 2 weeks, maybe not, as well as they did the first 4 weeks, but a lot of that is, plays on the body. You're talking about a defense that was averaging close to 30 plays in the first quarter each one of those games. So when your offense stays on the field, it gives the defense life. It gives the defense energy, because when you come back on that field, you're juiced up, ready to go because you're fresh. And I think we saw that yesterday. The defense just looked fresher. They looked invigorated. And then also when you get your defensive leader back and C.J. Mosley, that makes everybody's job a lot easier on defense, being able to call out certain things. The screens had been killing the Jets the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season, but yesterday, C.J. Mosley being out there, the Jets really negated the screen game from the Cincinnati Bengals. And then, of course, getting Jared Davis back was huge, because that helps you so much. You're talking about the depth with Quinn Williams being able to, sub him out every once in a while because he's trying to get his legs back under him. But then that also helps your special teams, because now you have one of your special teams aces back on special team in Quinn Williams. And Del'Shawn Phillips did a really good job, especially on that goal line stop. And I know we'll probably talk about this later. That first goal line step on that first play, Del'Shawn Phillips showed up big on that. So just want to give him a little love too.
Well, let's not talk about it later. Let's talk about it right now.
I like it. There's so much to discuss when it comes to that. Like, first and foremost, the Elijah Moore effort on the interception, right? Like, that wasn't talked about enough to me. And I talked about this yesterday throughout Twitter. Like, him not quitting on the play, and even Denzel Mims running down the field, both of those receivers just laying it on the line just to make sure their defense has an opportunity to stop the Bengals. Like, that is big time. Running down the field, tackling Jesse Bates at the 1 yard line, because the defense's mentality is always, if there's a blade of grass between that and the goal line, it's our job to protect it. You got to defend it. So, like, the first 2 plays, they try to hand it off to Mixon. Foley just did an amazing job blowing the play up, and then Michael Carter comes and makes the tackle. And then, the Jets got some help. Ja'Marr Chase dropped that pass on third down.
Finally get a break. The Jets finally
they got a break. But Brandon Echols was in great coverage. That was just a good throw. That was a good timing route by Ja'Marr Chase and Joe Burrow. But Brandon Echols was there, so he couldn't catch it on the bounce. But then, Quinn Williams, like this guy, people have been talking about him, like the stats haven't been there. They were there, week 2 through week 4, but we haven't really heard from him. Well, he showed up big yesterday, not only in that pass rush game, but in the run game. He was getting off the ball, creating havoc in the backfield. And that quick jab inside, swipe the guard, go to the outside on Spain move was big time. Like, you're talking about 4th down, the Bengals are trying to score, you're up 7-0, and you bring Joe Burrow down with one hand. Like, that's big time football right there for Quinn Williams.
Yeah, so Quinn Williams comes up with the sack. Jabari Zuniga comes up with his
sack. It was good to see him healthy.
Yeah. And then Sheldon Rankins, a huge sack late in that ball game. What did you make of Robert Saleh and the emotion you saw on the sideline, especially after the goal line stand?
But that's who Saleh is, right? That's why players love playing for him, because he's a guy that brings that energy, and it's infectious, and players feed off it. The defense is really taking on his mantra, all gas, no brakes. And you saw the passion in his eyes. You saw it in his body language. Like, he was fired up for his players yesterday after that fourth down stop. They get the ball on the 1 yard line and have 4 downs to get into the end zone, and your defense stops them. That is demoralizing to an offense. Like when your defense could go out and play at that type of level and just literally squeeze the life out of an offense, because that's what happens when you have the ball at the 1 yard line and you can't get in.
Are you a fan of the Saleh beard? Do you like the look?
Well, it was funny. So we were talking about this in the studio. And it's like you can't tell if that's like just like light stubble or is it Beijing. But I think he's going to keep it because they won. Coaches are superstitious, so I guarantee he doesn't cut it off until the Jets lose again.
Well, I'm just wondering if he's going to let it go longer. Like, to your point, I think he can grow facial hair pretty quickly.
Yeah, my thing is winter's coming, right? Go ahead and get you some facial hair, man. Go and get you some facial hair. Protect the face. Protect the face.
I took mine off over the weekend. Hopefully it comes back really quick.
It'll be back quick.
Hey, Douz, 31-20. What do you make of the drive from – because Joey Burrow puts them up by 11.
11, exactly.
Tyler Boyd. There's only, 7:29 on the clock, and then White gets the ball back, moves them down the field. Big play to who else other than Michael Carter.
Yep.
23 yards. And then you get down there close, and we saw Ty Johnson get into the end zone. And then that series, the next play from scrimmage, your defense needs a stop. And
Shaq Lawson.
We did not see these stops against Carolina, against Atlanta.
Yep.
When Saleh saying, well, it would have been interesting to see if we got the offense the ball back. Well, the defense came through in a big way, and it was a veteran who's kind of flying under the radar in Shaq Lawson.
Yeah, and that goes back to complimentary football. Mike White with a big boy drive, to put the Jets within 3 points. And then, the Philly special to get them the 2 points they needed at the end after, the interception by Shaq Lawson. But going to Mike White and being able just to know where to go with the football. And then Michael Carter has been your outlet the whole game, finding him again for 21 yards right there. But then, like you talked about it, the Carolina game, not being able to get the ball back to the offense. The Atlanta game, not being able to get the ball back to the offense. We had been talking about it all year long, especially the last 3 or 4 weeks. Teams are going to screen you until you slow it down. Well, that's what teams do, after they've just given up a score. They know that you're going to probably be pinning your ear back because they haven't ran the ball effectively with Joe Mixon. Well, that was a good job by Shaq Lawson, realizing the offensive tackle goes out right away on that screen. So I need to stop my feet to either retract or get my hands up. So he did a good job of getting his hands up. And then just a good athletic play to be able to come down with the football after that. And then we talk about the complimentary football. Your defense gets you the ball back. Go score a touchdown, right? This is the time to take the game over, go score a touchdown, and try to, put your team in position to win. That way your defense has to come back on the field, but now they're thinking just straight pass rush. So that's big time by the defense and the offense, complimentary football, and the Jets getting that turnover, right? The Jets offense had, turned the ball over 3 times. So your job as a defense is not to play, the Cincinnati Bengals offense, but it's to outplay the Cincinnati Bengals defense. So you guys need a turnover in a big situation in the game to get that turnover. Shows that this team is growing week in and week out.
WynnBET is now live in New Jersey, and they're bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting. Get in on all your favorite teams, players, and sports, from boosted parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport. They have what you need to win. Sign up today to receive a special offer, risk-free $500 sports bet. Download the WynnBET app now or visit WYNNBet.com to start winning. WynnBET, an official sportsbook and gaming partner of the New York Jets. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBET.com. Must be 21 or older and present in New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-270-7117.
Let's bring in one of Sunday's stars right now, Jets running back Michael Carter. We were just talking about it before we started here. How does your body feel? Because you got to get that regen in quickly this week, a Thursday night game on the horizon with the Colts.
Yeah, I started yesterday. I got in the cold tub in the hotel right after the game. But overall, I feel pretty good. I'm just excited to play again on Thursday. I've never played on Sunday, and they had to come back and do it again on Thursday. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, that's how you know you're young, man. You're like, I feel all right. Just got in the cold tub, hot tub. Be ready to go. Let's just talk about the game. Sunday, coming into the game, did you feel like you were going to get targeted that many times in the game?
No. I mean, I'm always ready for, any occasion, but I think like my mindset is always, how can I make my impact in this game? How can I help our team win? So for me, it was just about just being ready. And then whenever my time came, just take advantage of the opportunity, because, you only get so many plays in the league, where in college, we're trying to run 80 plays. And in the NFL, we're trying to run 50 and 60 efficient plays. So it's a different game. So the ball means a lot, because when you have it, you might not get the ball again, because that's just how it is, because there's so many good players on your team. So I'm just thankful that I was able to do my part.
You certainly did do your part. I think the last time we talked to you, Michael, you were saying at North Carolina, they didn't give me the ball a lot by the goal line, but now you got 3 rush touchdowns in the last 4 games. You're making this a habit.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it a habit. Because, I watch a lot of ball, man. I love touchdowns. I'm a touchdown guy more than a field goal guy. So I just be trying to get it in.
I like that. I think the thing that's impressed me the most about your game, MC, is when I watched your game tape from in North Carolina, we knew what you could do coming out of the backfield and make people miss in the open field. But I just think your contact balance and your physicality, like, it seems like you've just taken that to the next level. Like, so many times in this past game on Sunday, you made the first defender miss. Just talk about like your lower body strength and how you're able to get defenders off balance and keep your feet moving and continue to churn those yards out.
Yeah, I just I work hard at it, and I think it's something that also I was blessed with, but just being able to understand like half a man, and just it's a mentality too, though. We had a rule in my house growing up. It was like, never get tackled by the first man, never get tackled by one. So I grew up in a house full of running backs. So that's just something that we always talked about.
How much do you enjoy catching that ball out of the backfield? You nearly had 100 yards receiving. Did you realize that while the game was going on?
I mean, yeah, to be transparent. I think because they show it all game, like up on the board. So I was like, dang, it's not bad. So
when you saw it, you're like, dang, man, I couldn't get 5 more. Y'all couldn't give me 1 more catch.
Exactly.
I couldn't get 5.
No, it was really my fault, because I dropped the out route. Probably like,
I remember that. Yeah, it was second quarter,
back,
right?
Yeah, looking back, I'm like, man, if I would have caught that ball, I would have had whatever. But I'm glad we won, honestly, because wins are hard to come by in this league. So it was just good to go out there and get one and have fun. Like, yesterday was fun.
What did you think about the crowd late in the game chanting Mike White? And also part 2 to this question would be, you guys to a man were so confident in him before he stepped out there on the field. What did you see over the last few months to let you guys have that confidence?
Yeah, for one, I think the chants were great. I think Mike deserves that. He works so hard, and he works to be like great in everything he does, like great father, great teammate, great player. And so he's consistent every day. And I've never seen him just like, I don't know, complain about anything. He just grinds. He's a grinder. So I appreciate him and who he is. And then just like as far as like what I've seen, like I've seen a lot of, since I've gotten here, not rookie minicamp because he wasn't there, but like OTAs and then training camp and then the season, just I've seen him make some crazy plays. So I wasn't really surprised about what he did yesterday. I know like a lot of the free world is, but I've seen him make crazy plays, and he's just smart with the ball. So he's beyond his years, of course. And I think he just played such a good game yesterday. He didn't try to do too much, and he just made the plays.
Yeah, speaking of that, let's talk about the execution. I've seen you on interviews talk about that throughout the first couple of weeks of the season. Like, we have the players on this team, and it showed that you do have the players on this team to make plays, but it's just about the execution. What really clicked yesterday as far as the execution of the offense?
Yeah, I think it just starts with the message that our coach LaFleur had, sent to us during the week. Just be tougher longer and just execute. because he put us in positions to win. It's just like, but he can't play. So at the end of the day, it is about what we do on the field. So I think that we did a really good job this week. I think obviously I got my little notes right here from the game, but we got stuff to clean up on and definitely grow from. But I think this is something that we can gain confidence from.
You said you have your notes from the game. Is that something that you do even before you meet with the running backs group or the offensive group as a whole? You go through the game yourself and chart what you did?
Yeah, like so typically when I'm out there on the field, like and I made a mistake, I know right away. Like that's kind of like how I feel. And then most games, I haven't watched this game yet, but other games like I'll watch and then kind of see like, okay, what do I feel like I could have did better? And then I like to see if it matched what what coach says, and then I got a lot to clean up. So yeah.
I know Coach Robert Saleh has always talked about complimentary football, and they just did a great job of that yesterday. Just talk about, one, the effort from Elijah Moore to chase down, Jesse Bates on that tackle on the interception. And then when you guys on the sideline, seeing the defense being able to go out there and 4 straight down stuff the Cincinnati Bengals and stop them from scoring. Like, what does that do to invigorate the sideline and give energy on the sideline?
Yeah, that was unbelievable. And it's hard for me because I didn't really realize that Elijah had made the tackle, and then I think Quinn had made the sack.
Yeah.
I think Quinn had made the sack. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know they're about to get us back because that's what the defense always does. They always get us back. So a lot of credit to Elijah because he was hauling ass. He was running.
Yeah, he was moving.
Yeah. So a lot of credit to him. I guess that's just how they get down at Ole Miss, though, man. I got a lot of respect for that. DK had to chase down too. So, but yeah, Elijah made it one of the biggest plays of the game.
For sure.
And a lot of people don't know that because like, oh, it's an interception, but Elijah probably had the biggest play of the game.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that before you got on. Like, I don't think a lot of people understand how big that was for the momentum. And then also, you keep 3 and 7 points off the scoreboard. So at the end of the game, you win by 3. Like that's big right there.
Exactly. So a lot of credit to E, a lot of credit to Q in the defense. Just just getting pressure. Like they get pressure. So it's really good. And then, but yeah, in terms of like the momentum swing, huge because. Especially in this league, momentum is a real thing, and it lives. So we were able to keep it. That was awesome.
You played 3 games at MetLife Stadium. You guys are 2-1 at home right now. The place was crazy there late. What have you thought about Jets fans as a whole during your experience here playing at home?
Man, they're crazy, to say the least. Like they're crazy. I remember. But like they're so passionate, so I can respect it. It's funny because like one game they'll boo us, and then like the next game they lit, and it's just like they just love it all. Like they embrace it all, and so I appreciate them. Because I went to North Carolina and we have so many good sports there. It's like lacrosse is good, soccer is good, like football is good, basketball is good. So it's like everybody's a fan of everything. But like these fans are like football fans. Like they love the Jets. Like they'll die for the Jets. It's really cool to have a fan base that's like that.
Yeah, Eric just talked about being 2-1 at home, but how do you guys, get rid of these road woes? You got a short week this week versus the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not sure if you've been able to dive into the tape because I think you guys just got into the building not too long ago. But how do you, get off the snide as far as trying to get your first road win this week?
Yeah, actually, I watched a little bit of them so far, but and I think they got a good defense. They got one of the best linebackers in football. Definitely one of the best defense linemen in football. So they got some talent for sure. But it's just about preparation again. I mean, I think this week, it being a short week, you got to kind of focus on like fatigue and then recovery, but also be able to have that install ready to go on Thursday. So it's going to take some discipline this week to go to Indianapolis, which their fan base is good too. And for good reason, they got a good team coming in. I mean, they got a good team that, they get to cheer for, and then just excited to go on Thursday, prime time, and just play ball, have fun with it.
Yeah, what does it mean to you to be playing in front of the nation Thursday? Because it's the only game, and everybody in the NFL, especially your peers and folks back home who might not have the opportunity all the time to watch you, they will be in front of the TV.
Yeah, it means a lot to me. It really does, because I don't know if my family back, where I live at, they get the Jets game, so they just kind of got to go off Instagram and Twitter on how we did. So I think it's awesome. It's gonna be really cool. Thursday games are always fun. I played a couple in college. We always just play Pitt, but it's all good. So I think it'll be fun though. It'll be really fun.
Any more new touchdown celebrations you got in mind?
Yeah, I don't know. It's nah, I need to come up with something though, because I feel like when you celebrate after you score, it kind of shows that you was expecting to get in there. So, but sometimes you just got to take the Barry Sanders route. You know what I mean?
Hey, I like it.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah, I love the celebration though. Speaking of celebrations, what was that locker room like after you guys got off the field, and how much does that feeling mean to you after all the work you put forth during the week, and to see the guys collectively be able to celebrate their success?
Yeah, man. The locker room was fun yesterday, and it was just, we brought it up. A lot of credit to Mike White. He got the game ball, and then we started our locker room party. So it was really fun. But knowing that we have a short week, we celebrated, but now it's like it's time to get back. And now we got a game on Thursday. We playing, I guess, like 3.5 days. So that's a quick turnaround. So it was fun while it lasted, but we gotta go face another team now, and a good one.
No doubt. And go ahead, Douz.
Oh yeah, you guys had an explosion on Sunday, but what areas specifically, now that you've seen the film, do you feel like the offense can progress and get a little bit better in?
Yeah, just strain. I think because we get to spots and we even with ball carries, 2 ball security, something that we could be better at. I think we had a couple too many turnovers, and in my opinion, the ones off the helmets was flukes, but we could be better with the ball in general. Just talking to myself, but we definitely could be better with the ball. Number one, because the fact that we won that game and I think we had 3 turnovers. That's God's plan. That's a blessing. So that's the number one thing I feel like we can get better at. And then just finishing plays. I look at 2 plays, and truthfully, I think it was a catch, like Keelan Cole's catch.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was a catch on film, but if he finishes that play, he's the greatest receiver of all time. But they didn't call it. So, and then you get to the later drive down the road, and I ran a power play, and I kind of split 2 defenders, and I didn't. We ended up. I think we ended up kicking a field goal on that drive. But if we score that touchdown, then it's a different game at that point. So finishing those big plays and then ball security.
And lastly, I just wanted to ask you about your family's influence, how much they've meant to you along the way as you're starting out hot here in the National Football League. But you just said before you come from a family of running backs, a lot of athletes in that family. Can you talk about maybe the sibling rivalries and also the support you guys have given each other over the years?
Yeah, I mean, I got a huge support system, man. I'm so thankful. Like, I got, not only my mom and dad, I got 2 brothers. I got some of the best friends in the world that I grew up with. And they're all doing good stuff. So it's just been a good, I've had good influences around me. And then going to college and having, Sam Howell and Javante and, the old heads like Cole Holcomb and, Andre Smith and just good people around me, De'Ami Brown, just great people, Bo Corrales. I can name so many, but just I've had good people around me my whole life. And but I've had some hard times too, just growing up. But all of it put me here, And so I'm really thankful for the life experiences that I've gone through, because dealing with the adversity, dealing with the stress and everything of it, like I feel right at home when I'm going through the stress. So I'm thankful for it all and how I came up.
Awesome. Michael, thank you so much for taking time out here on the short week as you guys get ready for the Indianapolis Colts. Remember, the last time Michael was on the podcast, he scored a touchdown. So fantasy owners, you should be listening right now.
Right now,
one of the best all-purpose backs in the league.
That's right.
Appreciate it, y'all.
WynnBET is now live in New Jersey, and they're bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting. Get in on all your favorite teams, players, and sports, from boosted parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport. They have what you need to win. Sign up today to receive a special offer, risk-free $1,000 sports bet. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com to start winning. WynnBET, an official sportsbook and gaming partner of the New York Jets. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-270-7117.
All right, what's next? Where do we go from here? We heard the chants of
Short
Mike
week.
White, Mike White at MetLife Stadium. It's still resonating here throughout the area. Short turnaround, and he gets the ball again, of course, against the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, and ultimately, like, I don't love Thursday night games. I love the primetime aspect of it, but as far as what it did to my body, I didn't love it. But for this young team, I think this could be a good thing, because they're not sitting at home looking at the news clippings, looking at the media talk about them, talk about how good Mike White did in the offense, how the defense came back to play. They have to get ready for a team, and a desperate team at that. If you talk about the Indianapolis Colts, Darius Leonard has said before this past week's game versus the Titans that it was a must-win. Well, if that was a must-win, this for sure is a must-win for the Colts if they have aspirations to get to the playoffs. So I believe it being a short week and just playing on a Thursday night is big for this young team, because they don't have a lot of time to soak up all of the goodness that happened this past week. They have to go ahead and get ready for this game, because this is going to be a desperate team playing on this Thursday night.
What is he going to see differently from this Colts defense now that Indianapolis will have 4 quarters to take a look at Mike White and the Jets offense, as opposed to maybe what he saw from the Bengals?
Well, the funny thing is they have a lot of similarities in their defensive philosophy, as far as they play a lot of, cover two man. But what they do in man coverage, a lot of times they'll have 5 or 6 guys at the line of scrimmage when they do blitz on third downs, but they'll free drop a lot of players. And that kind of hurt Ryan Tannehill last week. One of their defensive tackles dropped in coverage one time on an all-out blitz. He was a free dropper. They were in man coverage, but Tannehill got picked off because he knew where he was going with the football, but he didn't expect the defensive tackle to drop. So that's a lot of times what the Colts do. They try to confuse you by going man and 2-man, but they'll have free droppers underneath. So if you think you're going to hit somebody on a crossing route, then they're going to be there. So what Mike White has to do, again, find the backs out of the backfield, especially if they're in one-on-one situations with linebackers, but also if they're in regular cover too, because that is where the void is, but down the seam. And he did a great job finding Tyler Kroft down the seam on that touchdown. That's going to be big. Those type of routes down the seam for the tight ends, Ryan Griffin and Tyler Kroft, they're going to come alive this week versus the Indianapolis Colts. So you got to do that, be able to find those guys. They've been banged up kind of at corner. Rocky Sin was banged up, but kind of came back. Same thing with Xavier Rose on the outside, banged up. Their best corner, without a doubt, is Kenny Moore. He's a guy that usually travels with the best receiver, but whether Corey Davis plays or not, I believe he'll just play in the slot because that's what he does the most. But he's a guy that's very opportunistic. Had a pick this last week versus Tennessee Titans. So you have to figure out where he is, because he'll take some chances when he's in zone coverage. He'll slough off his guy and come on to the underneath route. So you just got to be careful, because he can bait you into some bad throws. And we know what Darius Leonard is. He's the maniac. That's his nickname. This is what he does. Great job getting downhill. And he has an knack for punting the ball off of receivers and running backs. So that should be an emphasis this week, right? Ball security. We lost one with Jamison Crowder last week, so that's what they should be working on in these next 2 or 3 days to get ready for Thursday, is ball security, because Darius Leonard is one of the best in the NFL in getting the ball off you. And up front, the offensive line, they've played really well as far as the Jets. DeForest Buckner is the guy on defensive line you got to stop on this team, right? They have, Muhammad on the outside. He's a good rusher. Kwity Paye is coming along. He had some injuries earlier during the season. But the guy that you have to stop up front is their 3 technique. DeForest Buckner, to me, is the second best defensive tackle in all of football.
Where would you say the Colts defense is? Would you say that's an average unit, an average to good unit? Because I'm just looking at their players, and you just mentioned Buckner and Leonard. Those guys jump out at you.
Those are elite players right there. Kenny Moore, too, he's an elite player. So I would say they're above average defense.
Okay.
You know, they get after it in the pass game. They have some good linebackers. Darius Leonard and Okereke is a really good athletic linebacker. At the safety position, they've kind of been banged up and lost some guys at the safety position. But, you know, when Rock Ya-Sin is healthy, he's a good player. You know, Xavier Rhodes in the past has been a really good player. He's played kind of average this year. So this is an average to good, you know, defense. D line, again, Muhammad is a good player. DeForest Buckner is an elite player. Quiddy Payne is coming along. So this is a good defense, right? They get after you. They're simple. They play that cover two. They want their defensive line to be able to hunt, and they will heat you up on third down, and then they'll throw some exotic things in there where they'll drop some linebackers. They'll drop a D tackle, a DN in the underneath coverage just because you think it's man coverage. So if you're throwing to a spot, you just got to realize there's probably going to be one free dropper dropping out.
Give me a couple Jets defenders who have to play very well against the Colts. The two guys who stand out to me on the Indianapolis offense, Jonathan Taylor out of the backfield, and
100.
Michael Pittman is just getting targeted every other play.
Yeah, so you have to realize what the Colts are going to do. They're going to come out running the football. Their first play versus the Tennessee Titans was is similar to the play the Jets ran versus Cincinnati Bengals. It was a quick swing route to Jonathan Taylor, and he takes it 40 yards. Like, he's an explosive athlete. Everybody talks about his physicality, but he runs away from defenders. So he's gonna be the number one guy the Jets have to stop, right? The run game is pretty vanilla. It's zone, split zone, and counter and power here and there. So they're gonna get the ball to Taylor, not just in the run game, but in the pass games, just like, you know, the Jets do with Michael Carter. And then Michael Pittman, you just got to realize on third down, that is where Carson Wentz is going with the football. That's the guy he trusts. In the red zone, that's the guy he's going to. Early on in the game, on the first two drives for the Colts, 2 touchdowns in the red zone, and Michael Pittman was targeted both times. I believe 3 times in the red zone he was targeted, but he scored twice in the first 2 drives in the red zone. And then any you know, man coverage, 50-50 jump balls, it's going to Michael Pittman. That's where he's going to go. He did that in the San Francisco game to close out the San Francisco 49ers with the game on the line. Went to Michael Pittman on a 50-50 jump ball. Michael Pittman came down with it, then scored a touchdown. The Colts ultimately win. So you just have to realize that you have to stop Jonathan Taylor, but Michael Pittman is the guy they like to get the ball to, especially in the red zone and then on pivotal third downs. T.Y. Hilton is their guy they usually take their shots with. He got banged up in that game. We'll see what the injury report looks like and see if he'll be able to play. But you know, they've had a carousel of receivers because they've had so many injuries at the receiver position. Michael Pittman is the guy that you have to be aware of, though.
I'm going to be watching Mosley and Jared Davis get after Jonathan Taylor. That's a great matchup. And who do you think?
The D-line, too, right? Because this is a pretty good offensive line from the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Reed, their right guard, has struggled some, so that's a guy that maybe Quinn Williams and Sheldon Rankins can kind of take advantage of. But this is a pretty good offensive line, and they brought Carson Wentz in because they wanted to dethrone the Tennessee Titans. They brought him in for games like last week, and he struggled in those big-time games. We saw that last week, especially in the second half, just making some ill-advised, you know, throws. The one backed up by the goal line on the screenplay, just side on that to the feet of the tight end, and you get off the field. But he throws the ill-advised throw, gets picked off for a pick six, and then later on in the game, he had 3 underneath routes wide open, but he's trying to force the ball down the field in overtime. Gets picked off by Kevin Byard. So you have to realize or wonder where his mental is right now, right? Because after what happened in Philadelphia, it seems like the same thing is happening here in Indianapolis with big-time games where he kind of struggles. So we'll see where they're at. They're going to be a desperate team. They're going to come out and establish the run with Jonathan Taylor and try to get him the ball in open space. So to me, the Jets line is going to be big this week, man, getting after Carson Wentz in the pass game, but also being able to knock that offensive line back. That way, you know, C.J. Mosley and Jared Davis can come downhill.
Yeah. Do you like putting maybe Bryce Hall because he's bigger and longer on Pittman?
I mean, Brandon Echo's been playing now. So, I mean,
I know.
The thing is, he plays physical at the line of scrimmage. I like his physicality. My thing is, I would just bracket him, right? Take him out the game. Make Pascal beat you or make somebody else beat you, because right now they haven't shown that they can do that. I mean, the Ravens week they did, like Pascal showed up big in that game, but that's one game out of the whole season. Michael Pittman has been the guy for most of the season.
Do you think this has got to play with the Colts' minds? What has happened to them? They start 0-3. They very easily could have won their last 5 games, Douz, but they squandered a lead in Baltimore, couldn't finish. And again, they had an early lead against Tennessee, couldn't finish. And Carson Wentz throws
the Colts defense was playing elite in that game early on. So, I mean, the thing is, when you're up 14-0, that's like the most dangerous place to be at, especially when it's only the first quarter, right? Because a lot of teams get comfortable when you're up there, but you got to realize there's still 3.5 quarters of football to play. So you have to realize there's a lot of football to play, and you can't squander opportunities away. So, this is a Colts team. We talked about their defense. They have elite players at all 3 positions. I mean, all 3 levels, defensive line, linebacker, and the secondary. But, like, it's gonna come down to the defense, the Jets defense playing like they played last week as far as getting after the quarterback and minimizing Jonathan Taylor in the run game.
Final question for me here as we close the pod, and we thank Michael Carter for joining us this week. The Jets, they've played so well at home. If you really look at it, New England, week 2, they lost by 19 points, but they won in every statistical category. They were better on both sides of the line of scrimmage. They took down the Tennessee Titans, a 6-2 team who, unfortunately, might be missing Derrick Henry for the rest of the season. That would be a major loss for them, but they faced Henry. And then Cincinnati was surging, just laid a 41-point
the number 1 team in the AFC coming in.
Right. So these young Jets have played well at home. For me, I want to see them take that game to the road now.
Exactly. And we talked about the game in London and the game versus Carolina. Like, those were 2 games that were essentially on the road that they had opportunities to come back and win at the end. But it's all about starting the game fast, right? And that's what the Jets did last week. So if they can start the game fast, and they got to jump on the Colts right away, because sometimes a team can beat you 2 weeks in a row. We'll see if the Tennessee Titans are able to beat the Colts 2 weeks in a row. And we'll see pretty early how that team comes out. Are they going to feel sorry for themselves because they've lost 2 games to the Titans now and have an outside chance, of making the playoffs? Or will they come out as a desperate team and give the Jets their best shot? I think they'll come out as a desperate team.
All right, another awesome podcast. The Official Jets podcast is presented by WynnBET. Betting is a team sport. Bet together at WynnBET. Leger Douzable and myself will be back in a couple days. We're signing off.